Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Good evening. A few minutes after the top of the hour. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show. We have so much to talk about tonight. You know, I joke when people ask, well, how long does it take you to write it? And in this day and age, with everything going on in the world, it doesn't take, I mean, Wayne puts a lot of effort into doing the graphics and this and that each day. But as far as coming up with what you're going to talk about, what you're going to do, hi, Candace. Let me just say hello to Candace very quickly. Peace right back at you. As far as what you're going to talk about, the news writes itself. The show content writes itself. There were so many contestants today for Lowlife's making headlines. You wouldn't even believe it. But I want to don't get stung, right? We'll talk about that here to open up the show. And then I want to jump right into it before we open the phones at the bottom of the hour. There's just so much to get to today that it's just action-packed. It's going to be chock full of things that we talk all the time about, brains that make your blood boil. This day is full of it. So, but before we do that, episode, whatever it is, 507, Wayne tells me, episode 507, Why Get Stung? Now, this has a little bit of a personal feel to me in that a couple weeks back, I was at the beach, out in the water, just hanging out, carrying on, enjoying the sun on the top of my head, top of my Gorbachev-like scars. And all of a sudden, my legs lock up. Zzz. I went to move right over into the water. Now, I'm only in probably 2 or 3 feet of water, right? So that part wasn't bad. I was able to do a push-up position and elbow myself out of the water. But I had been attacked by a jellyfish. Now, not a Portuguese man of war like you see in the picture, but just a regular old, little pod of goo and gunk jellyfish. But the darn thing grabbed me in the back. I had welts in the back of both legs just below the knee, and bam, pancaked me. So a little bit of why we picked that graphic for this evening was just to say, hey, you know what I mean? Jellyfish can sting you. You got to be careful. And then the other part of it is that with all the craziness going on in the world today, you're damn straight you can be stung by some of these other jellyfish. And you remember, jellyfish, they're just predators. They're just floating around, looking to pick a fight, doing whatever they can. And that's a lot like what you and I are up to. And when you look at when we talk about being the lightning rod for the loony left, the liberal left, everybody and their brother this week. Wait till it gets closer till Friday. But everyone and their brother, we're going to burn this down. We're going to burn that down. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Everything's going to be, it's just going to be, we're going to either get our way. Used to be, if you didn't get your way, you took your gear and you left. Now, some people are going, I'm going to grab my balls and go home. I'm going to take my ball and go home. We're going to do it my way or the highway. I was having lunch with a friend of mine today, and I said, it's absolutely amazing to me. In 29 episodes, 29 occasions, 29 past presidencies, 29-0. What a hell of a record. 29-0. If a president, even if he had an hour and a half left in his term, if a president had the opportunity to nominate someone to the Supreme Court, now it doesn't always mean that the Senate confirmed them, but 29-0. If a president had the ability to nominate someone to the Supreme Court, they took it. President, nominate. 29-0. So are we really supposed to buy into the lunacy? These brainiacs, and they're not even the lowlifes making headlines for tonight. We've got 2 that are just going to leave you scratching your head. But are we really to believe these brainiacs that now, given what's going on, the record should stand at 29-1? Like the current president, right, should be the very first one in a run of 29 not to at least throw a name up on the wall? See what sticks in the Senate. Is that your professional opinion? And as we said on last evening's show, and the clairvoyance, right? We say some things on the shows and people go, oh, well, how did you know that? Just clairvoyant. How did you know that? We read tea leaves. Just, right? I remember friends of mine going, how did you know the moment you saw Donald Trump come down the escalator all those years ago that he was going to win? I was standing with a group of people and I said, there's your next president right now and his wife coming down the escalator. People go, how did you know? I'm just clairvoyant. No good at lottery numbers, but I'm clairvoyant, I guess, nonetheless. So before we get to what, oh, yes, we think it should be 29-1. The hell with what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said in the New York Times article in 2016. The hell with what Joe Biden said in an interview in 2016 in the New York Times. Forget all that. There was crazy talk when they said a president absolutely ought to have the ability to nominate a person. Absolutely, he or she should. Why listen to anything else? So now, this evening, when we talk about things that we've predicted in other shows, last week we said that people that burn books, people that burned witches at the stake during the Salem witch trials, that the people that are fact checkers today, the people that are employed at Facebook and Twitter and Google and all these fact checkers, right? The people that are employed there are just reincarnated book burners, right? If they don't agree, they're going to burn that book. They don't agree, they're going to rip that poster down off the wall. You see it all the time now, people tackling political signs and ripping them down because they don't believe with the particular sign. I don't care whether you're a Republican or Democrat. If you put up a sign, your sign ought to be able to stay there. But there's these nut jobs running around, ripping down opposing signs. They're just book burners, burning witches at the stake. Oh, she's a witch. Oh, okay, give her this big rock. If she sinks, and then apparently she wasn't a witch. So if we can bring her back up before she drowns, then we're all good. But, right, we predicted last week that it would soon be told, soon be shown, that these fact checkers, not only are they lunatic liberals, that they're not unlike the old book burners, the old burners of the witch. Oh, here you go. Let me get to this. Breaking news, Senator Collins says she'll vote against Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Senator Collins, just now breaking, says she will vote against Trump's Supreme Court nominee. All right, we'll get back to that. But as far as predicting something that's going to happen in the future, you heard it here first on Radio Bry. You heard it here first on the Brian Brawdy Show. We talked about how all these people are going to be outed pretty soon. These fact checkers, right? They're just reincarnated book burners. So today, lo and behold, and I know Wayne's got some pretty cool graphics, lo and behold, news agencies around the world, I got it in a printed newspaper, for goodness sakes, news agencies around the world started reporting that all of these different people, here you go, Judicial Watch says Newslink, breaking, most Facebook censorship board has ties to left-wing billionaire George Soros. Go on. That couldn't be true. A book burner from way back. Oh, 18 out of 20 members of Mug Pamphlets Censorship Board have ties to George Soros. Get out of here. So our fact checkers, the ones that are supposed to sit and go, oh, you can't say that. You can't do that. You can't put up a post talking about this or that. You can't do that. Here's another one. 18 out of 20 members on Facebook's, what is this, the remix? 18 out of 20 members on Facebook's fact-checking board have ties to, wait for it, no drum roll needed, George Soros. So the people that are hired to burn books, the people that are hired to burn witches. Oh, and look at the Facebook here, the Buffalo Chronicle. Most Facebook censorship board has ties, again, left-wing billionaire George Soros, and this dashing young guy, apparently he's wearing a drape or like a couch. It could be a couch cushion. I don't know, but apparently this is George Soros's son, which you can see here in the feed, according to the Buffalo Chronicle. This fine young gentleman wearing a sarong, I guess, maybe. I don't know. This young man is taking up the new charge of making sure that they're able to fund all the fact checkers. So think about it. If you put up a post on most social media, Drape Boy, couch cushion boy here, is no doubt, along with his dad, financing all the people that go, you can't say that. We got to burn that. We got to pull that post down. You can't do this. How does anyone get to say anything anymore with Curtain Boy running the show. So I just wanted to make mention of that fact that once again, you hear it here first on the Brian Brawdy Show, and then just a couple days usually, right, it comes out that go, oh, yeah, they really are book burners. They really do. The loony liberal left really does have it out for free speech, for free thought, for the ability to communicate what your gut tells you, which is probably not the greatest segue in the world. We'll get to that again. Susan Collins saying she'll vote against Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Well, I don't know about how that worked out last time. I don't know. Maybe Wayne can check the numbers, but I think all of the senators that voted against Kavanaugh, I think they're all working waiting tables now. Or they're probably lobbyists in D.C. making, well, by the book, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod, making 10 times what they did as a senator. If you don't count all the under-the-table money, right? But they're now, those 6, I believe, or maybe there was only 4 of them that voted against Kavanaugh. They're all doing something else, I'm sure they're making a fine living doing something else than being a senator. So we'll see how that plays out for Susan Collins. All right. Oh, Ms. Putnam, good evening. I have to tell you, I really love looking at your posts. They make me very hungry. You post some of the best looking food and cake recipes and all these other things. It's just spectacular. It makes me hungry every time I see your posts. So good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us here on the Brian Brawdy Show. So let's go ahead. Let's get to it. What time we got? We got 20 after 7. We're going to open the phone lines at the bottom of the hour. So it only gives us like 10 minutes now to get to Lowlife's weight-making headlines. So, Wayne, go ahead and cue it up if you would. Lowlife's making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, so here we go. So fresh, so breaking, Wayne didn't even get a chance to load the graphic in before we went live. But you have 2 contestants to pick from today, both of which just clearly fine, upstanding, young, insane people, right? But this first one, I'm getting a couple different reports. This one from the Miami-Dade Police Department. They have graphic video, they say, of an unprovoked, vicious attack on a 29-year-old woman sitting alone in a corner on a Miami Metro train, in which a 25-year-old man, unknown to her, right? Not like that makes any difference. Like if your boyfriend did this or if your school, right? It's in any event, unknown, punched her over 20 times in the head. According to the report, hurled her body headfirst across the car into a wall, then hurled her headfirst back into the seat before kicking and punching her again repeatedly. Poor thing. So here's this 29-year-old woman, says she's 125 pounds, sitting there minding her own business. And allegedly, the suspect in the case, Joshua James King, 25, twice her weight, walks up and just starts beating her and kicking her senselessly for no reason. When they finally get to this mixed martial artist's, this tough guy, 25 years old, walking around, never picked on me on a Metro car, 25-year-old guy in Miami, goes on to assault 2 other people before they finally are able to pull him down. So here's the first thing about Lowlife's making headlines. In case you're new and you don't know my opinion, if you can repeatedly punch and kick someone, especially smaller than you, but if you can repeatedly punch and kick someone in the head, you have a depraved indifference to human life, and I'd like to see you in jail. Once convicted, I'd like to see you in jail for 20 years. You're damn lucky I'm not president for a whole host of reasons, but that would be one. Now, it's fair to say, my critics will say, well, just because you've had all those brain surgeries, just because you've had that, that toxic shock all the time to your brain, you're a little sensitive about people being punched and kicked in the head. Fair. Let those words haunt me. I'm good with that. But if you're a 25-year-old boxer and you get onto a train and attack a younger, maybe even less than half your size woman, punching her and kicking her repeatedly in the head, in the ribs, throwing her around, knocking her down, then punching and kicking her again, if they find you, and they charge you and they convict you, 20 years. Oh, well, he's charged with aggravated assault. No, I get an idea. Charged with attempted murder. Charge and then go mandatory sentence. And I know people go, I don't like mandatory sentences. Tough shit. Nobody asks you what you like. It's not your show. You punch and kick somebody in the head repeatedly. Punch it. They knock them to the ground. You continue to kick them. 20 years. Go sing a sad song to the judge. Let me say hello to Bart. Bart, thank you for joining us. Janice, thank you for joining us as well. Bart, 941. I absolutely, yeah, but I don't even want that. You know what I mean? I don't even want that to stand in the way. You and I are of the same opinion. Let me say this. Well, he raises a very valid point. Bart reminds me that 941 law in New York means if you're nuts, the police get to take you and put you in for a mental assessment, right? A medical and a mental assessment. So I'll give that to you. So if you say, 941, what are you going to do about 941? Where's your 20-year vacation plan for someone that's got 941? Great. Here's what I'm saying. You have a depraved indifference to human life. You can kick and punch another human being. Whether you're nuts or not, you can't be allowed out on the street. You can't be allowed out to victimize a human being half your size, minding her own business, on a train, going here and there, and then you just decide to walk on and start punching and kicking. 941 or not, you go straight to jail, 20 years. If you're convicted, straight to jail, 20 years. You don't like it, don't vote for me when I run for president. All right, so there we go. So now, second low-life making headline for today, and I can't make this up. Matter of fact, I want you to know that I'm not making this up to such a degree. I'm actually going to read what was said. Oh, no, you're kidding me? No, I'll get it back up. Don't anybody go anywhere. So as we're busy working Low Life's Making Headlines and working in our second one, let me just find this article because it's a guy who couldn't even put his last name. And I want to ask you all, do you even know of this website? I didn't know of it for, I don't think I've ever heard of it before. But here's a guy writing for this particular website that says, if you're a white guy, not mansplaining, white guy or white girl, and because the history of dogs in a human's life, because of the history of dogs in a human's life, if you're a white person that owns a dog, you're racist. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Someone put up the dumbest woman in Congress, and I'm thinking, how are you ever going to narrow that list down? All right, so, but as I look through here, what this gentleman was saying over on this website, United, Feel the Animals, Save the Animals.org, and of course, I can't find it now. I thought I brought it up, but I didn't. So what he was saying was basically this. You are a racist if you're a white person that owns a dog, and that what you should do if you own a dog, the only right thing to do is donate your dog to a POC, a person of color, so that you can go ahead and get out from underneath the negative karma of owning a dog. And this young man puts the article up, and it goes all over the place. And I'm sorry I can't find it, but I did. It was in the thread here somewhere. And I think I commented. Let me just see in case I commented on it and anyone commented back. No, of course it didn't. All right, so here's the scoop. This guy says if you're white and you own a dog, you're a racist, and the only good thing to do is turn your dog in. So tonight's Low Life's Making Headlines as we get ready to run to the bottom of the hour, and then we'll check in on Susan Collins thinking, we couldn't care less what you think. The Low Life Making Headlines, it comes down to the 25-year-old wannabe bully, right? It just comes down to bullies. It just bullies is apparently what it is that gets my goat. Am I allowed to say that anymore? Bullies. Either the 25-year-old guy that gets on and damn near beats a woman to death, if convicted, 20 years, see you after you get out of Sing Sing. I don't care if you're nuts or not. And then, right, clearly you can start a list and go, please don't ever vote for Brian for president. He's taken cruel and unusual to a whole other level, right? You punch somebody in the head, you're going up the river. And then the second one is the young gentleman who wrote the post his name was Clyde 6, I think it was. If anyone here in the feed saw that post or saw that article, could you remind me where it is? All the different things we were working on, I didn't see it pull up here. but it was Clyde 6. If you're a white person and you own an animal, for goodness sakes, you want to be able to sleep at night, you want to erase the guilt, you want to get over your sense of fragility, oh, please. You want to do all that? Do yourself a favor and donate your dog to a person of color or a family of color. Because let me ask you, if a POC is person of color, then maybe FOC, a FOC is a family of color. You're supposed to donate your animal to a family of color because he goes back and does all the research and says, well, you know, white Europeans stole half-breeds, stole wolves before they made the full transition to dogs, stole wolves from people of color and just decided to keep them all for himself. And he says this is a long list of the different things that white people have done to undermine indigenous people. So for heaven's sakes, save yourself, save the karma, save the stress, save the shame, and donate a dog to a person of color. Well, there you go. There are two Clyde 6, and you're welcome to vote. I think Wayne, I don't know. Can they vote at mortalup.com? Can they vote for who tonight's lowlifes making headlines are going to be? Because it's a tough call.
Not today.
Not today. Okay, cool. So it's a tough call. Some guy that's, wants to bully someone, or another guy that wants to bully white people with dogs and says, hey, you should donate them back. Maybe you should put them in a little bassinet, wrap them up, and leave them over at the fire department. Maybe that's his plan. Where do they find these people? They're insane. Bart, you talk about the 941 law. I've got you. All right, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour. Wayne, let's run now, and then when we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to talk a little more about Don't Get Stung. We'll see what craziness Susan Collins is up to, and we'll go from there. All right, we will be right back. Oh, after like a minute break, I think. All right, I'm so excited, right? I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as you all well know, but I was able to find it. So if you'll give me just a minute, here we go. Now, in fairness to the lunatics over at this, what's it called? United Wildlife Union, they say they're all about saving animals from people and social justice. So we should have known going in. But let me just show you here. It says, why white people owning dogs. I don't know how good that is. In any event, really nice white lab, white person owning it. And it says, why white people owning dogs is racist. So stick with me. Way back in time, almost 12,500 years ago, the first canines were becoming domesticated through the toil and hardship of people, and they had earned the trust of our new beloved best friends. I don't think this clown has a best friend, but I'm just spitballing. The symbiotic relationship between dog and woman was very groundbreaking, as humans had never been this close to an animal before. Humans would provide shelter and care for the dogs, and the dogs would be like security guards and help them hunt and all kinds of cool stuff, right? Makes sense, just like a dog would. The reason I'm detailing this history for you is so everyone understands the importance of the events that took place all those years ago. The domestication of dogs started in two places, Eastern and Western Eurasia. Now, the Eurasian people worked nonstop to gain and maintain the trust with these gorgeous creatures, but it was stolen from them. The greedy actions by white people, not making it up, the greedy actions by white people stained forever the history books. What actually happened? Great question. I want to know as well. Shortly after the Eurasian people worked so hard, so diligently to train and bond with wolves, most of them were shipped off and given to Europeans. These filthy white savages, yes, because we wanted to give Cujo a home. We're filthy white savages. Took the work and credit from the Eurasian people and branded these magnificent creatures as their own. The need for these white savages to claim or to say that they had prediscovered is not only isolated to just this incident. Countless times in history, savage whites have been caught stealing the work and talent of people of color for their own success. Honestly speaking, we shouldn't be surprised that these white people would steal the domestication of dogs as well. So, in closing, if you are white and own a dog, you are openly racist and participating and advocating for cultural appropriation and colonialism. Boy, if you could just tell me here in the feed, give me like your top 3 cultural appropriation things so I can't see if we can get it done by the top of the hour. Cultural appropriation and colonialism. Reinforcing this culture, and he puts it in all caps because this is where his keyboard courage, this is where he draws the line. This is not acceptable and will come with repercussions. He's got to be a Democrat. He's threatening to burn something down. Come with repercussions. Dogs are and always will be a living reminder of how tainted our history is as a whole. People of color deserve to exclusively own dogs as a form of restitution for their stolen ancestors' work. Supporting the idea of white dog ownership is spitting on the grave of past people of color generations. Honest to goodness, I know if I show the camera, you won't be able to read it, but I promise. Oh, Wayne, maybe we can I'll send this to Wayne. We can put the link on. I don't know why I'd want to even give this guy any press, right? It's not fair to kick crazy people while they're down. That's all I'm saying. If you are white and own a canine, you should consider donating them to a local person of color family or non-kill shelter so it can truly find the perfect home. Are you kidding me? The inmates are running the asylum. So, as I've said before, as I said today at lunch with a good friend of mine, Todd, if you're listening, nice to see you. As I said today, look, there's a silent majority and there's a violent minority. And this violent minority is such that if you don't play by their rules, they're going to take their balls and go home. They're out. Arrivederci. Hasta la vista. There's 2 shots of cultural appropriation, right? I'm not even at the top of the hour. I got 26 minutes left, right? But if you don't play by their rules, they're going to go on, and they're going to threaten you. They're going to bully you. It all goes back to this bullying, all the bullying. Well, we'll pack the Supreme Court. We wrote about that today. We'll pack the Supreme Court. We'll burn down the Supreme Court building. We're going to make sure that there's this. We're going to make sure that there's that. Well, I think there's enough of us regular people out there not caught up in all this left-right hysteria, wing sauce, as we call it here. I think there's enough people out here that go, we're tired of being threatened. We're tired of being bullied. You're politicians. You work for us. Susan Collins, I refuse to vote for the nomination. Good for you. That's your job. At least you're doing your job. Or she'll probably do it in abstention. She won't even show up to vote. But the question that I have is that when will the rest of us, the silent majority that's tired of being bullied, and that's all it is, bullied by the violent minority, when is it going to be time to stand up and go, you know what, we've had just about enough. No more craziness, right? Yeah, that's it. We're done. We're not going to get stung by this and go from there. All right, Wayne, let's get ready. We'll open the phone lines if you will.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
Mortal 1, MORTAL 1. As my friend Bill says, or don't forget, you can reach us 833-667-8251. Give us a call. Give us a text. We want to know, how would you pick the lowlifes making headlines for today? Don't forget, we have the 25-year-old bully who decides to beat and kick until she's damn near dead, a woman on a train. Real tough guy. Or this other one that says, oh, you own a poodle and you're white. It's time to pack it in, time to give it up. You've stolen. You're spitting in the face of the ancestors of people of color if you own a dog. Those are our two options. I think it's Clyde or Clark, and the other guy is, I believe, Joshua King was the name on the allegedly was the name on the police report for allegedly committing this crime. Although they got him on videotape. Here's another thing, if I could, right? Just, and we've said this before about politicians and open mics. If you're on a train, if you're in a public platform, and you decide to beat someone and kick someone damn near to death, chances are pretty good there's going to be a camera. Look at it, Jesse Smollett. I'm not sure what he calls himself. Jesse Smollett, right? He picks the one bridge in all of Chicago to get mugged under, and there's a camera there. There are cameras everywhere. So maybe you get 20 years just because you're not smart enough to realize that if you commit a crime, it's going to be on camera. Or like a politician, oh, you have to forgive him. He didn't know the mic was hot. I don't have to forgive him. Oh, you should cut her some slack. She didn't know the mic was on. Oh, so they told the truth, but now we're supposed to cut them some slack because they didn't know the mic was on. Candace says, don't drag fur babies into their mess. He's nuts. Wayne says oh, thank you, Wayne, very much. You can call or text the show 833-667-8251. It's a day where we're just, once again, we show that the inmates are running the asylum. Absolutely true. Oh, speaking about running the asylum, Wayne, I think what we'll do is let's go ahead and we'll throw open. Now, tomorrow night, we hope to have a video. If not tomorrow night, what's today? Tuesday, that makes tomorrow. Wednesday. Either Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have the video of the new mobile base camp, if you will. But here's the thing. If you've been following us, you know for our global marketing tour, we have the vehicle with the Mortal Up sign on top and all the signage, the car wrapped and everything else. And for our global marketing tour, right, when we talk about an international marketing plan, we're just going over to the terminal here in Columbus International Airport, and we drive around in circles until people go, man, that Mortal Up, what is that, like a shuttle service? MortalUp.com. That thing just keeps driving around. So maybe you've seen that picture. The second one that we've worked on are the signs. Let me tell you a quick little story about the signs. So I'm out there, Mortal Up signs, two different signs. You flip them around, and it could go either way. Two different signs are running. So my thought is, when the police show up and they go, oh, are you allowed to walk around with these signs or do this or that? I'm simply going to say it's a protest. Oh, you're here protesting. Yes, I'm protesting how thin-skinned people are, how wimpy most people are. Obviously not people here in the thread, but right, there's a need to mortal up because there's too many perforated personas running around the planet. Like the nut saying if you're white and you own a lab, you should turn it in. Or Joshua King for allegedly kicking the crap out of that poor young lady on a Miami Metro train, which people in Miami Metro got to be, really? We can't catch a break. We can't get people to ride these trains for anything. Let's not use this as a commercial. But in any event, Lowlife's making headlines. You want a chance? Comment here in the feed or give me a text. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll see which one of them actually wins. So in an attempt to draw more people in to watch the show, right? We're trying to get syndicated. We like when people call in, when people text in. Our third attempt, which is coming now, is, and we'll be talking about this in the video, but I talk about spreading the word while working on my spare tire. And what it is a cart that we've set up. And there you go. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, there you go. And what we're going to do is this is drawn behind the bicycle. So we've got this new app, mortalup.com. Thank you very much. All kinds of lights, everything else we'll show you in the video tomorrow. But what we're going to do is we also has a new app that will show the route and the mileage and the temperature and the weather. Will show whether I really mortal up or not, whether I really channel the inner ability to do almost anything. And so we're going to go for 20 miles a day, and we're going to pull this Mortal Up comp. Now, We've got some really cool flags that are coming as well, but we'll talk about that tomorrow in the video. But that's going to be our next attempt at marketing. Is we'll still do our picket signs. We'll still have our car driving around the international terminal over at the airport, so we can say we have a global marketing reach. And then on the app, I'll be pulling this cart around 20 miles a day, probably 5 or 6 days a week, or maybe I'll be hiking around or whatever. But the app allows you to follow us, allows you to hold our feet to the fire to make certain that we're spreading the word while working on my spare tire. So I'm very excited about it, and we'll be detailing all of that tomorrow night so you can see. Well, it's kind of like the evolution. Remember way back when I went on that 49-state tour with Lance Camper, right? The green RV, as the New York Crimes called it, green RV, and I had the solar panels and the wind turbines, and that's what I traveled the country in. Well, now I'm going to pull this little trailer behind me on a road racing bike, and it's going to be to draw attention to mortalup.com. We'll have all kinds of cool videos. Wayne will post all the pictures over at mortalup.com as well, so you'll be able to see it. And we're also going to, and I believe the app will allow you to watch us in real time to figure out where we were. Oh, so why would you want to figure out where we are? Great question. I want to show you this. This is the Brian Brawdy Show. Ooh, look at this. Mortal Up. Well, we have koozies now. And I know they're a little late getting here, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, Bri, it's wintertime. Who's going to stand outside and have a drink in the winter that they would need a koozie? But here's the thing. You could go to a tailgate party. You could be going, if we're not under lockdown, maybe there's some kind of sporting event or something. So here's what we'll do. Just drop me an instant message or drop me a line here in the feed. And if this is something, oh, you know what? Probably great stocking stuffers. If I'm still allowed to say stocking stuffers, can we still celebrate stockings at Christmas on the fireplace, hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nick will soon be there? Great stocking stuffers, the Brian Brawdy Show, and you can tell everyone, yes, I absolutely am going to, let me say this, it goes this way. I am absolutely going to mortal up. We'll bang you one out in the mail. Send me a message or give me a text or something here in the feed, and I'll get you one. So what we're going to do is in that cart, you noticed in the cart, we have the Mortal Up signs faced in a triangle, and underneath is all kinds of storage. What's going to be in that storage area are these koozies, are some swag, are some giveaways. And every day we'll be giving away some of these things, again, to help spread the word of the Brian Brawdy Show, as we call it around here, Radio Bri. So if you're into the idea of having some of these as stocking stuffers, or you just want some, or you want to help us spread the word of the show, please suggest around. If you don't mind, maybe send it over to your friends and go, boy, this is something. Yeah, you don't look. You don't want to vote for him for president because, like I said, he redefines cruel and unusual in a clearly cruel and unusual way. So you don't want to vote for him for president, but you may want to listen to his show. So that's what we've got going in terms of my new mobile base camp. No solar panels, no wind turbine, just leg powered. I'll be pulling that cart around behind me, and we're looking forward to sharing the video. And you should know I built it we finished the construction just a couple of days ago, and then got the signage and got all the rest of this. So we're waiting on the Radio Bri flags, on the Radio Bri uniforms. We've got all that going, which I'm really fired up about. Wayne worked hard on the logo. It looks great, and we'll be spreading the word with that as well. All right, you can give us a call, 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1, 833-667-8251. You want to give us a text? Let me know. Bart says, me, you got it. I want one. Janice, you get one. That's a great idea. Well, thank you, Janice, very much. I appreciate it. Like I said, look, I need to work out anyways, right? I'm still working off the tumor 20, as I like to call it. So for me, it's a great workout. Keep my heart young, do all the rest of this. It's a great workout. I'm going to bike anyways. I'm going to run anyways. I'm going to hike anyways. If I could figure out how to swim and pull a little dinghy behind me, let it go, Barth. If I could swim and pull a little dinghy behind me, it would have a Mortal Up or maybe a Radio Bri buoy that I could pull behind me. But there's no pools open. Because of the lockdown, I think we're even lucky to have a pool, but there's not many pools open nationwide. So that's what we'll do. For right now, we'll stick with protesting with our picket signs while we're walking around and pulling the little thing behind us. And that's how we'll work for our international marketing. And, of course, the car. You'd be surprised the number of people, and it makes you a better driver. When your logo, your name, when everything is up all over the vehicle, you stop at stop signs. You make sure you don't blow through a red light, this and that. I used to say after the surgeries when they took my license and then it expired, I was like, look, being illegal makes me a really legal driver, right? And that little, maybe a couple year, day, week, month, year, right? Tomato. That couple year break where I had an expired driver's license. In that little break, I was a more legal driver. I was a better driver when I didn't have a license because it was like, look, there's no way in heck I want to get stopped, so I better pay attention to the rules of the road, right? Although I hate the word obey traffic signals, but you get what I'm saying. So there's a perfect example of being illegal, how it made me more legal in terms of the open road. And that was the point for the vehicle and for the truck is you drive, right? You drive just really something else. How about me? Yes, of course. Wayne, we have one for you as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's how we're going to be getting the word out of there. All right, before we get ready to go at the top of the hour, we only have a little bit of time left. Oh, it says we have 13 minutes left. I want to get to Mortal Up. So, Wayne, why don't we do that? Why don't we jump into Mortal Up and we'll go from there. All right, so here's Mortal Up for this evening. The basic thought behind it is that you and I were born, gifted, however you want to look at it, evolved, evicted, whatever you're comfortable with, right? Garden of Eden, savannas of Africa. Evolved or evicted, like I said, whatever your belief is, you and I were given through that process a human brain, a human spine, better than the angels. And it's up to you and I to decide we're not going to take all these crazy people. Oh, if you're a white guy with a poodle, well, outside of that, if you're a white guy with a poodle, you're a racist. Oh, listen, if you get on a train and there's a woman there by herself, you just, yes, please. Why wouldn't you go ahead and punch and kick her damn near to death? Why wouldn't you do that? When you mortal up, you decide you're not going to get stung. You're not going to let the crazy people run the show. Because there's still a lot. Who am I, Joe Biden? 200 million people have already died of COVID. So when you throw in his position on the number of people that have died from handguns and the number of people that have died of COVID, I think you people here in the feed might be the only Americans still left alive if you total up his numbers. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? I don't know. You can't let the crazy people get to you. And life is full of crazy people now. But notwithstanding Joe Biden math, there are millions and millions and millions and millions of great folk that you're one of them. And there's going to come a time where we just have to mortal up, where we have to draw our line in the sand. We say in the show notes, we stand in the way of anyone that stands, or anything, stand in the way of anyone or anything that stands in the way of you. And you can do that same thing by not taking things personally, by not having perforated skin, by looking at some of these nuts and going, I've had enough. You punch and kick someone, you put them in intensive care, you put them in the hospital. If you're convicted, 20 years, see ya. We stand up to people that are calling all the rest of us out that we're racist because we own dogs. If that's a true definition, golly, I've been racist for, I can't remember how long it's been since I haven't owned a dog. Right? It's nuts. And what can we do when we mortal up? We go, we're done dealing with the nuts. We're not putting up with it anymore. Because there is a silent majority in this country, in your town, in your county, in your state, in this country, on this continent, in the world. There's a silent majority. And so the violent minority, you give them their 15 minutes of fame. They run around, they scream, they holler, they walk up to your table in a restaurant and drink your beer. They yell at you through a bullhorn. You and I don't care because we know it's not true. How many people really listening, whether it's listening live across the platforms on YouTube or on Facebook. Let me also thank the few folks that listen on Twitter that I don't fight with, right? There's only a few that actually agree with me, I would imagine. But, right, outside of those folks, there's a good number of people here that are just tired of being browbeaten, are tired of being looked down upon. And then when we mortal up, we say, nah, we've had just about enough of this craziness. 29-1. Like, that's what the scorecard should read. 29-1. First time ever. President goes, oh, no, please. You go. It's like being at that same beach that I was where I got stung by the jellyfish. And I'm out there. Let's say I needed help getting in, and I'm waving my arms. I'm waving. And the lifeguard goes, oh, geez. Yeah, I'm just climbing down from the chair. I've got a report to fill out. Right? But the new lifeguard, she'll be on. She's a better lifeguard, right? She'll be on in a few minutes. So if you don't mind, instead of me doing it on my shift, instead of me grabbing that little red thing and running out like I'm on Baywatch, jumping in the water, coming to save your drowning ass, instead of that, would you mind if we just waited? Because my shift's almost over. I know I took an oath to save you, to keep you from drowning, right? Hands-only CPR, just in case anyone's listening. Hands-only CPR if you need that kind of thing, right? Hands-only CPR if you're drowning. But if you don't mind, the new guard's going to be on. She's a lot better looking. Got to tell you, she's faster than I am. She can cut through a riptide like you wouldn't believe. Would you mind if we just wait for her to come and save? I'm just going to kick back in my final days, weeks, months of my final minutes here on shift. And would you mind could you just flail around a little bit? Maybe could you tread some water? If you roll over on your back, you probably could float for a good little bit. Would you mind floating until the new lifeguard clocks in? Who would say they would agree with that? Oh, but now, for those that don't mortal up, for those that are convinced that the only way to have any kind of power themselves, instead of cultivating it on the inside the way you and I have, they're going to try to control you. And why do they try to water you down? Because if you're watered down, you're easier to manipulate. You're easier to control. Think about it for a second. Look at some of the antics. And I don't want to give it away. I told Wayne I wouldn't. But the Three Stooges plus the honorable mention, we'll get ready to do that a little bit later in the week. That's the epitome of not mortaling up. That's the epitome of not calling upon your natural resources, your authentic vigor, your grit, your ability to square your shoulders, no matter what fate throws at you, to square your shoulders and rise to the occasion. But they don't want you doing that. So I guess in a way you could say mortal up is just about giving it right back to them, giving them the big salute and going, no, you're not going to bring me down. You don't have that ability, and I'm not going to surrender my spine. I'm not going to get stung by your insanity. I'm not going to get stung by your just preposterous vapidity. I'm just not. I refuse to. And I think what you're going to find is the more you channel that, just like building any muscle, the more you do it, the stronger you're going to become, the more flexible you're going to become, and the better off your life, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, your family, your friends, your town, your county, your state, your country, your continent, the globe, the better off we'll all be when we start taking the remote control back. When we take the Molotov cocktail from the person that's getting ready to throw it. Now, okay, Junior, give me this. Right? Why don't you go beat up a tree? Right? Why don't you go kick a parked car to show us how tough you are? Right? When you grab the person with the spray paint and wants to put graffiti all over the inside of your house, and you go, nah, the spray paint's mine. You can get out of here now. That's what's going to happen. When the silent majority finally goes, the violent minority has had their moment in the sun. That's about it. That's what happens when we mortal up. And the cool thing is, it's in you. It's not dead. It may be dormant, but it's not dead. Your ability to rise to any occasion, to square your shoulders with fate and go, that's it. That's what you're going to bring to derail the unique DNA that is me? That group of politicians, that corporation, the lunatic left running social media, the bubble boys and bubble girls over at Spitter with their little blue bubbles, we're going to worry about being chastised by these people? We wouldn't hang out with them. We wouldn't have a drink with them. We wouldn't get in line at a bagel store with these nut jobs. So why would we let their opinion of us matter? Because it doesn't. Not unless you have a brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine, and you and I know that's not you. You wouldn't be watching any part of this show. And for the people that are offended, the people that are triggered, the people that are maligned, the people that are outraged, all the outrage junkies, all of them, you're welcome. No charge. Deal with it on your own. But we're getting to the point where the only way to confront the craziness going down is to remember who we ultimately are. Not what social media, not what mainstream media, not what corporations, not what politicians, not what all the overlords want us to think we are, because they want us watered down. They want us weak. They want us forgetful. They want us having amnesia. Because believe me, if you have amnesia, you don't know which way is up. And they don't want you knowing which way is up because they're scared to death that you'll mortal up. They're scared to death that you'll rise up and go, that's about enough. Pack the court. Oh, we're outraged. How could he dare even think of nominating? Well, because you're always upset that he doesn't do it like everybody else. So we're supposed to go 29-1 just so you feel better? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Can somebody help me here in the thread? I don't know. Maybe Wayne, maybe you can help me. Hey, Henry, nice to see you there. They better not try and drink my wine. Yeah, Janice, I know that. I know that for sure. Candace says, just something else to distract the sheeple that fall for it every time. Ginsburg doesn't really have anything to do with it. Impeach. They are old news. And these tactics, I just laugh. Candace says, Henry, thank you very much for the thumbs up. Right back at you, brother. So all I'm suggesting is that when we mortal up, they run scared. Right? They're petrified that we'll wake up from our amnesia, remember who we are, and go, no, it's our life, it's our show, it's our gig. Now we're the ones that are coming after you. All right, Wayne, I've probably said enough. Lord knows I've probably said enough. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all so very much for joining us for episode 507 of the Brian Brawdy Show, or as we like to call it around here, Radio Bry. Please reach us at mortalup.com. If you have a show idea, if you want to continue to text, continue with any of the things we've discussed, please reach out. Thank you again to the folks on YouTube, here on Facebook, and most certainly on mortalup.com if you're listening to the live radio feed there. All of our friends at IPM Nation, thank you so very much. We're out of here, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Have an absolutely fantastic day tomorrow until we see you.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.